Everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and we've got a very cool unbox and review for you today. We have got a box of Magic from Waia Games, and this is their most recent Kickstarter, and it is for Amazons. And the great thing about this team is you've got a mix of different players, so the team itself can be used for humans, probably Norse, nobility, pro elves. There's a ton of different teams you can use it for, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at the Kickstarter preview and then really just delve into the models, the sculpts, the casts and the quality. Okay, so I've gone back and we've got a Kickstarter preview here. So this is the project draft. So what we can do is we can actually have a look at the project. So this is going to be produced by Waia Games, W-A-I-A, used to be known as WA Games. They're the team who produced the Pandemic Army Kickstarter that had 4 different teams, and then they've most recently done the High Elf team, the tall and really kind of regal looking but quite skinny High Elves. This is their next starter, and this goes live today, I think, as this video is going out, and we get an opportunity now to have a look and see at bits of the Kickstarter. We've got the models to look through themselves, but I always like to actually look at the Kickstarter, because if you're seeing it on the channel, you know what the price point is and you know what you get for your money. So we'll scroll down here. This is going to be an Amazon team, referred to as the Jackass Killers from this, and it is Amazons. They've got kind of like a tribal jungle theme. We're going to see kind of Aztec-y vibes here when it comes to the jewelry and the wearing of pelts and the use of bones and things. Really cool. Now we've got blitzers. There are 4 blitzers in this set. Every one of these models has an individual sculpt, so each of these models is going to be itself, okay, which is, I always love to see that, and that's really cool when you're looking at a third-party team, because if you want if you want a team with 4 blitzers, you just go Games Workshop and pick up 2 boxes. So we've got 4 different blitzers here, different hats, different sculpts, and the cool thing about this Kickstarter is that it's 3D sculpted, but the casting in resin is Morg cast, which is their kind of patent pending beautiful resin. We saw this with both their Kickstarters. The casting has been just outrageously perfect. I am too scared to ask how they achieve it, because I believe there may be some kind of magic involved, and I like magic. Probably best not to involve yourself in the affairs of wizards. Anyway, look at the quality of the sculpts. They're scary looking. This looks like Escher. This looks like, sorry, House Escher from Necromunda. They've got that element of reality. Like, the sculpts, the faces are incredibly well done. The hair, the ties, the bits of fur, the bones that are strapped onto their armor. The sculpting is phenomenally well done. And each one of these models, every single one of them, has got a ton of detail and a ton of dynamism. Now the throwers are my favorite models simply because I love the hats. I love this crow effect on the thrower. That big crow bird skull vibe is just so wicked, and it really does kind of throw back to the old Games Workshop Amazon team, where the positions were kind of differentiated by the different hats that they were wearing, which is perfectly fine. If that's how you want to do it, Games Workshop, that's fine. And you know what? It works really well. So you've got 2 throwers, you've got 2 different catcher models, very dynamic catching poses, and then you get 8 line women, all with different sculpts, different facial expressions, different headdresses, different sculpts, different hairstyles, and every one of these has been done really, really beautifully. So when we're looking at the team and the value, we've got the €65 piece here, 8 line women, 2 throwers, 2 catchers, 4 blitzers, and an extra line woman for the early bird bits, and all the stretch goals as well. So €65 is probably, what, about £70 UK plus postage. I don't know, probably about £80, which is exactly what you expect to be paying for a full third-party team. If you go in Games Workshop, 2 plastic box sets is going to set you back 60 something pounds as well. And this is 16, 17 individual sculpts with all the tokens as well. There's this one here, which is very cool. We don't have this model to look at, but there is an ogress as well to be used as your big guy. gal, I guess. So you've got Amazon team. This one's brewed up to be a human team as well. So you've got the ogre there. You've got 4 blitzers, 2 catchers, 2 throwers, all the line women, the extra one as well, I believe, and the ogress to be your ogre. There's a Norse team split out as well, which is a very cool way to do this. So 8 line women, 2 Valkyries, so they've done this in line with the new release, 2 wild boars, which are beautiful little sculpts there as well, 2 berserkers, which are the Blitzer models, I believe, 2 Ulfwereners, which are the kind of chunky, hairy dude. Oh, that's the Yeti, and you've got these kind of crouching poses with the animal skins there to be your Ulfwereners. I like it. Okay, they've done a good job on the Kickstarter of giving different... You've got the classic Games Workshop model for scale. Now we're going to look at scale in a second. They are taller than Games Workshop models, they are thinner than Games Workshop models, and they look true scale, but it fits really nicely. They are their own scale, and it's been executed brilliantly. Stretch goals, all the different kinds of stretch goals you would expect to see for a full-on Kickstarter. You've got cheerleaders, markers, and knowing Waia Games, there will be some pretty... There you go, there is it. Some pretty fun add-ons to it as well. Now, I will put the link to the Kickstarter in the video below. Hopefully, this video is actually on the Kickstarter, so back it now. But it is time, and I'm very excited. We are going to delve in and have a look at the models themselves. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the models themselves. So what we've got here is one of my favourite styles in this kit. So this is one of the 2 thrower models, and you can tell they're a thrower model because they've got this kind of, I don't know, bird skull, crow head. I think it's a very cool aesthetic, and you'll see this throughout the entire team. So I'll tell you what, this is the very first of the casts that we're going to look at, and I've probably already said this on the intro bit, but WA Games do the nicest cast resin in Blood Bowl. Hands down. Like, Grebo do the best printing, I think, but this cast resin is just beautiful. Now, I will show you the scale of these girls in a minute, because you'll get a really good sense of just how fine this detail is, but hopefully you can pick this up on the camera. But the detail and the quality of cast, can I get a good focus? I think this is probably the best angle I'm going to get, is incredibly crisp. And when you look at how these have been produced, there are hardly any mold lines. So there's a bit on the feet there where they've been clipped off. Is that an imperfection or a spot of dust? I think it might just be a spot of dust. But as far as the model is concerned, there's hardly any imperfections. And you can see all this beautiful detail there when it comes to looking at the feathers on the chest, the actual like over the shoulder piece there, all the different elements of the hairdo. It is just the detail here. Everything that they have had sculpted has come out absolutely perfectly. Now, that's one of the throwers. We'll have a look at the other thrower before we have a look at the scale. But I mean, look, you guys will be able to see this straight away on the video. What you see on the Kickstarter page, what you see in the 3D kind of rendering, is exactly what you will get. So all the strap detail, even the detail of the ball where it's made of a piece of bone mixed in with, you know, whatever the heck the ball is actually supposed to be. That skull on the head, the sculpting is brilliant. And I don't know how they do it, but they've got this Morgue cast resin that is just phenomenal. It is nice and it's durable. Like, it's not flexible, it's not wobbly, it's not particularly oh, that's risky, wasn't it, trying to flex and bend the model, but it's not brittle either. So let's have a look at the size before we go on and have a look at more sculpts. What we've got here is a Blitzer. This is kind of like the model of the Kickstarter, isn't it? This pose, you've got beautiful face detail there, you've got detail everywhere, including gaps in the Blitzer's kind of loincloth. You've got the little holes there, you've got these Wolverine spikes, which are fast becoming a very important piece, and you've got all the detail there on the headpiece. So this is on one of the bases that comes with the Kickstarter, and it's very similar in size and shape to the Games Workshop one. So if we have a look at and compare the base here, you can see that they're about the same depth, I guess is probably the best way to say it, and they are almost, in fact, they are exactly the same diameter as well, which is a really good job. But what we're here to do is look at the scale in comparison to a Imperial Nobility thrower from Games Workshop. So if we have a look at this, these girls are taller. So in the last Waia Games Kickstarter, the High Elves, they were very tall, very lean. These are probably halfway between Games Workshop and those. This is more of a true scale factor, but if you look at them from a mass point of view, they're about right. If you look at them from a height point of view, they are taller than Games Workshop's models, but not by a huge amount. And if you see, and this is the great thing about this kind of camera setup, is you can see what the models look like on the table. They fit in really nicely. They are not hugely lanky. They are not small and fiddly. We've looked at some other models recently where they're quite tall and quite thin. These just are beautifully done. Now, this is definitely a third-party team, and this, I think, is part of the strength of this Kickstarter and where Waia Games are going at the moment. But they're not sculpting Games Workshop replicas. The goal here is to make beautiful models that you can use for Blood Bowl, and with the scale being more true scale than the Games Workshop scale, which is, you know, that classic heroic, everything's a little bit chubby and a little bit chibi, this is true scale. Like, if this was 12 inches tall and in Forbidden Planet, it would be being purchased as some kind of superhero, I'm sure. But again, on this model here, another one of the blitzers, you've got the cool animal hats, and this is what you can identify the blitzers with. They've got like a panther hat or something like that, along with the spikes on their arms, and you've got their kind of pelt. This is going to paint up either really nicely, really easily, which, you know, that's kind of my wheelhouse, or it gives you a nice bit of canvas to go to town with some really nice animal skins. Now, we should probably get Ian Warhammer to do a bit of a teach session on that. I mean, look at all the detail here with all these bones that are strapped to this player as shin guards, and beautiful detail on the face. So this is another one of the blitzers. There are 4 blitzer models, and they are all unique, and the detail is perfect on each of these. I am super impressed. I mean, I expected nothing less from Waia Games with their casting mechanisms, because the last 2 Kickstarters they've done have been cast beautifully. The resin is incredible. And again, this is another one of our blitzers. Great work on the face. Look at that. Okay, can we get a better view? We can't get a better view. That kind of bone chin strap is such a cool design. This is very... This model is very Escher from Necromunda. I guess that's another way you can use these, because they kind of fit in. So those are the blitzers. We've looked at this blitzer as well. We might have done another hat there. Beautiful bits, nice bit of amulet on the chest, and again, just detail absolutely everywhere. What else we got? Let's have a look at some of the catchers. You know, I could look at all of these models individually. I think they're brilliantly done. This one's got kind of like a Lara Croft vibe, because you've got these pigtails here. Great dynamism, and the detail is cast really, really nicely. Excellent detail on the ball and the face, and you've got great bits. So this is one of the catchers. They've got a stretching pose. This one is another catcher with an absolute catching pose. But again, you can see the beautiful sculpting and the beautiful casting there on the hair pieces. I don't know what else to do to show these off. The scale is good. It is taller and thinner than Games Workshop. The casting is better than anything I've seen, and all of these models do come in single piece casting. So normally I like to do a bit of a slow motion build for these, but this is just straight out of the box. Hey, we've got our first bit of kind of flash there, a bit of a mould line just on the side of the loincloth. Is there any on the model itself? No. That is ridiculous, isn't it? These guys are wizards. That is absolutely amazing. So, casting detail, absolutely beautiful. I think we've shown all of the cool models. Actually, there's a couple of things I do want to show, which is the variety of hairstyles and the kind of actual aesthetics of these models. Now, there are a couple of them that are, how's the most appropriate way to say this? Generously proportioned. None of it feels too judgy. Okay, we've seen a couple of Kickstarters. We don't tend to cover them. We try to make this channel very family friendly. These are perfectly fine, I think, and I really do like the way that we've gone with different hairstyles, and I think it's very, I want to say inclusive. It's not. It's a very reasonable thing. So this is one of those models where there's a bit of generous proportion, but actually, as far as fantasy models go, I mean, this is probably in line with every Conan-looking dude looking like actual Arnold Schwarzenegger. For those of you that have met me, I don't look like Conan, so I like this. I like the different hairstyles as well. I think it's a really cool design. They've done all of this pretty tastefully when it comes to kind of like going with a Savages kind of vibe. The sculpting's brilliant, the casting's brilliant, the design has been done really maturely, I think, and it's a great team for it. So there you have it, the Amazon Team Kickstarter from Waia Games. I've said it about 20,000 times. The casts are brilliant, the sculpts are really good. When it comes to teams like this, there is often a cartoony and potentially offensive trap that you can fall into. They've done a really good job. It's been done really classy. It's been done with a great kind of style that just feels through the entire team. They're going to paint up brilliantly. They're going to give the proper painters out there an opportunity to do leopard print and stuff like that. The models are great. If you're waiting to pick up an Amazon team, this is probably the best one that's out there now. There's a few other great teams out there, but if you are in the market for an Amazon team, now is your time to jump in and buy. The quality is essentially unmatched. The sculpts are fantastic. The price point is exactly what you'd expect to play for third party. I've been really impressed. I genuinely am impressed. And Amazons, whether you love them or hate them, are a great team. And this is a very great way to get that to the pitch. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this team. And we'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content, we get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.